It's mid in the morning here on Live 107.3. We are just days away from the return of one of the most iconic events in TNA Wrestling. After an absence of a decade, the all steel cage premium live event Lockdown is back. The action takes place this Sunday, August 23rd, at Chicago's Credit Union One Arena live on TNA Plus. Five titles being defended, including both the TNA and Knockouts tag titles. The X Division Championship on the line as Leon Slater has to regain that title or see his championship legacy erased from history. Our very own Zaya Brookside defends her Knockouts title against Elena Black, and in what will be the final chapter of a rivalry that has raged on for what seems like months now, AJ Francis and Elijah go on one this Sunday. They'll be locked in a steel cage. No pinfalls, no submissions, just a brutal battle for survival, a desperate climb to freedom. And joining me now is the man looking to end this legacy, end this rivalry once and for all, a man that is all about the money, money, money. We are talking about AJ Francis. AJ, good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, Lee. Thanks for having me, man. It was a good introduction. And yeah, I'm going to very much enjoy beating the life out of Elijah inside of that steel cage.
It's going to be an amazing night. We're so excited to see Lockdown back. And if we can just go back a couple of months, because let's be honest, AJ, this all started because, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, you, a businessman, made a business deal. You purchased Eliza's brand likeness and music library. I say that's part of the music business, business being the
hmm
appropriate word. Some people have said all down to professional jealousy. What say you, my friend?
Well, here's the thing. I didn't want to have to do that. I mean, if you remember, I tried to collab with him. I tried to make music with him. He was the one that didn't want to collab with me. He was the one that said he walks alone. He was the one that said it's just him and his guitar. So I decided at that time, you know what? How about I buy everything that you've ever created, including your name, image, and likeness, so that you have no choice but to make something new because you don't want to make something new with me, right? And obviously, that led to our match at Slamversary, where unfortunately he assaulted my manager Expressions, hit him in the head with a guitar. Expressions been in a neck brace for 2 months
Hmm.
basically because of that. Doing all his big shows over in the UK, as you're well aware of. You
Yep.
know, Netflix sensation. He does all the sports talk shows. He does everything, and he's doing it with a neck brace because Elijah assaulted him. Also gave him a tombstone, which just insult to insult. It's not even insult to injury. It's just insult to insult to insult to insult. And then now he doesn't even want to kick in. He doesn't even want to donate to Expressions Medical Fund. When I know how expensive the healthcare
Mhm.
system is in the United Kingdom. It's so expensive.
It's crazy. If you want the best healthcare here in the UK, you have to pay for it. And trust me, AJ,
Uh-huh.
you and I know it costs money, money,
Money,
money.
money, you know what I'm saying? So, but Expressions wants to hurt my man. Elijah wants to hurt my man Expressions and not kick in. So I decided we're gonna settle this once and for all inside a steel cage, which I'm very excited for because I've
Mm.
had a bunch of steel cage matches in my career. But this is gonna be the first one that's ever been live on a television platform. So I am very much excited for this match.
It's something I'm so looking forward to. There's something magical. Also, I've been a TNA fan for 24 years now. The whole time TNA's been on the go, and Lockdown to me has been one of those iconic PLEs, premium events that just helps define TNA alongside things like the X Division and Bound for Glory. People often say, AJ, that PLEs, pay-per-views, have character. They have different character. We all know about WrestleMania season, Bound for Glory season.
Mhm.
Is there something different that you've noticed because Lockdown is coming back and it is so different? It's a character in itself almost.
Yeah, I'm excited for lockdown because when everybody has, like for example, at Slammiversary, every match had different stipulations, and a
Hmm.
lot of these matches have certain particular stipulations, but we all have to find creative ways to use the cage to make ourselves stand out. Um, and I see people, um, you know, clamoring for me to do the Kurt Angle moonsault off the top of the cage. And here's the thing, if there was more people in my match, I probably would, you know. But you know, I think I can leave that spot up to other people. But because of that, you have to find creative ways for yourself to stand out. And me, I've already thought about a bunch of creative ways for my match to stand out amongst the rest. And I'm excited because the thing is like a lot of times cage matches are used just because. And this is a cage match pay per view. So there might be a lot of cage matches that are just cage matches because it's the cage match pay per view.
Hmm.
But if you go back to how long me and Elijah have been in this feud, how it started, where it progressed from, me bloodying his ears, stealing his image and likeness, him getting it back at Slammiversary, hitting expressions with the guitar, giving expressions the tombstone. Like we should end this final encore inside of a cage. And I'm very glad that we're getting an opportunity to do some old school wrestling and finish a long, drawn out feud inside of a cage.
You say a proper old school wrestling in here, but at the same time, you are one of, in my opinion, the most athletic big men there is. And I hope you don't mind me saying a big man, but you know what? I mean, you are
Yeah.
jacked and you are stacked, my friend. You're
Mhm.
incredible. How
Look,
difficult?
to be fair, I'm the most athletic big man. I do a moonsault from the second rope that looks better than all those fat bastards do from the third rope, right? So, and the second rope's harder to do. I do a second rope moonsault better than guys that are 185. So, I am the most athletic big man. Also, none of those guys have ever sacked Russell Wilson. None of those guys have ever beat a double team on Thursday Night Football. So, those guys could never lace up my LeBrons.
Uh, you are incredible inside that ring. You said you've been thinking about how you're going to be able to use this steel cage Sunday night at Lockdown.
Mhm.
Does it actually make it harder to wrestle inside a steel cage? Because obviously the cage is it's not like something like Hell in a Cell, as you might see in
Mhm.
other organizations, where the cage surrounds the ring. The cage for Lockdown is actually on the ring itself, isn't it? So does that make it more difficult in terms of bouncing off the ropes or using the ropes as well?
Honestly, for me, no, I don't really use the ropes that
Hmm.
often. And so for me, no, I'm not the right guy to ask about that. Honestly, just being a fair opinion, like cage matches oftentimes are physically harder because they're physically on your body harder. Because if
Hmm.
you're in a cage match, you're probably doing crazier stunts and wilder moves, and the cage is literally unforgiving steel. But putting the match together sometimes ends up becoming easier because you have a prop. The prop is the cage. So you're able to, as long as you're good at telling stories in wrestling, which not everybody is, but as long as you're good at telling stories in wrestling, like the story of the cage pretty much tells itself.
Hmm.
And you just have to add your little flavor to it. I'm excited because I've never been on a card where there's more than one cage match. Right. And like
Hmm.
I've been in cage matches and we were the only cage match that night. I've been on cards where there was a cage match on the card and I wasn't in the cage match, but it was still the only cage match that night. So I'm excited to see how everybody goes out and tries to, stand apart. Cause you know me, I'm always do that. I put
Always.
show stealer on the back of my jersey for a reason because I am exactly that. Right. So I'm excited for to see what happens. And there's some really good matches going to be in the cage. So it'll be good.
It's going to be good. And you mentioned there, show stealer. You've been doing that since, and I had to stop and double check this, AJ. 2.5 years you've been in TNA
Mm-hmm.
wrestling now. You
Mm-hmm.
arrived when TNA returned. I felt it was longer in a good way because you have just been such an integral part of the TNA rebirth story. And in
Mm-hmm.
that time, you've been involved with some of the biggest superstars that have been on the roster. You've been former digital media champion, former Canadian heavyweight champion. You've been in and around the title picture when you have chosen to be so. But if, and again, you're an intelligent man, so you'll understand where I'm going with this question. Uh, in my eyes, you're one of the few people in professional wrestling today that doesn't need a title to be over. You are just
Mm-hmm.
over because you are AJ Francis, much like Jake Roberts was when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
He was just over. Do you still think that professionally for yourself and then in the wider scheme of things, do you feel you need a championship for accolades and for acknowledgement, or is there other metrics now in the professional wrestling world that you and other people look at? Do you know where I'm going with that?
Yes. So to me, do I feel like I need a championship to stay relevant? No, because I didn't have a championship when I hosted the Cheez It Citrus Bowl twice on ESPN in front of 10 million people. I didn't have a championship when I did Fox Big Noon Kickoff before the Maryland football game on Fox, in front of millions of
Hmm.
people. I didn't need it when I did the Kay Adams show or the Scott Van Pelt show or the Pat McAfee show. I'm relevant because of who I am, right? However, I want a championship. I want to be TNA World Champion because I'm the best big man in the business. And you can't have a world heavyweight title and not have an opportunity for the biggest person on your roster to be world heavyweight champion, right? So my game plan is to beat the life out of Elijah, right? This
Hmm.
Sunday at lockdown. And then after lockdown, my sights are set solely on the Call Your Shot Gauntlet at Bound for Glory. I've been in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet the last 2 years. The first year I finished Final Three. The second year I got teamed up on by a bunch of little guys that do super kicks and a bunch of crazy moves. And this year is my year. This year is the year I'm going to walk into the Call Your Shot Gauntlet and I'm going to win it. And then I'm going to call my shot and I'm going to be the world heavyweight champion. That's how the rest of this year is going to go. Because to be quite honest with you, Nick Nemeth is the current world champion. He only beat me the last time we wrestled because he had help from 65-year-old Bernie Kosar. If Bernie Kosar happens to not be in the ring with a steel chair, I'm going to beat Nick Nemeth when I cash in my Call Your Shot Gauntlet. Or I might just wait. I might just wait and play it out and see when I can strike at the most convenient time. And the entire time knowing in the back of your head as the world champion that the biggest threat on the roster is looming.
It's going to be something incredible to see. You heard it there, AJ Francis telling you the way it's going to be, not just this Sunday at Lockdown, but the rest of the year on TNA television. Of course, you can see every match, every rivalry. You can catch all the action of TNA Lockdown streaming live this weekend on TNA Plus here in the UK. Head on over to watch.tnawrestling.com. Sign up right now if you haven't already done so, and head on over there just now and get details of the new VIP Plus package. Great perks, great opportunities, and your chance to catch not just this Sunday night's event, but every TNA pay-per-view for the rest of the year. We are back with AJ Francis next. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Med in the Morning. TNA Lockdown takes place this Sunday night, but before that, you can catch the next episode of TNA Thursday Night Impact on TNA Plus, 1 a.m. here in the UK, Thursday night into Friday morning, AMC in the US and Sportsnet 360 in Canada, where my guest is rightly part of this week's main event. The Hardys team up with Elijah and the face of the franchise, Moose. Face of the franchise. That's debatable. Taking on
Craig, I'm telling you.
taking on the Nemeth brothers, Frankie Kazarian, the king of TNA, and my guest at this time, the man that is all about the money, 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 the man that is the showstopper in professional wrestling today, the best big man there is. I think I've gotten all those possible names. The
Yeah.
one and only AJ Francis. AJ, you still with me, my friend?
I'm here, man, and thank you for having me, man. It means a lot when you get such a great introduction every time.
AJ, this is incredible. I mean, I'm not just saying this. You are an incredible athlete, and I mentioned some of those names that you're stepping into the ring with this
Hmm.
Thursday night on Impact. The Hardys, Moose, Kaz. In the locker room, you've got Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, young guns like Leon Slater, Bear Bronson. How good is the TNA roster right now?
TNA, we got the best roster in the world. I fully believe that, mainly because I'm on this roster, right? When Tom Brady's on the Patriots, it doesn't matter who's on the Patriots. The Patriots are a championship contender, right? And that's how I feel. I've always felt that way. I'm the game changer. You don't believe me? Ask Joe Hendry if he took me out to a steak dinner for changing his life. If you don't believe me, look at the matches and the feud I have with Mike Santana that catapulted him to the TNA World Title. If you don't believe me, why you think they put Trick Williams with AJ Francis when he came over to TNA? If you don't believe me, look at the work I've done with Casey Navarro and Rich Swan and BDE. And I got got all these guys to the bigger point of their career. You know, Rich Swann himself said, I saved his career.
Mm.
So like there's a lot of guys that I've done masterful work with Elijah, Nick Nemeth, and Moose, and it didn't matter all along the way. PCO's best match of his career is AJ Francis versus PCO at Slammiversary. Like these are facts, right? These are just
Mhm.
facts. So when you talk about these things, right? It's because I'm the person saying it that they have a problem with it. If I was, if I was 5'8", 175 pounds, and I'd never been in a real fight in my life, then I'd be able to talk like this because that's what people expect from professional wrestlers, right? But me, I'm a genuine ass kicker that played on Thursday night football, Sunday night football, slam 300-pound grown men, and could rip your throat out. When I talk like this, I'm supposed to be, the bad guy. I'm supposed to be the person that doesn't know what he's talking about, but I know exactly who I am, and I have for a long time.
That roster is incredible. You mentioned some of those names there that you have helped elevate to the next level.
Mhm.
And again, we're seeing just now the Forbidden Door is so passé talking about that now. We've got the relationship.
Mhm.
You mentioned it with WWE. We're seeing some other new young up and comers come through to TNA Wrestling just now. Is there anyone on the roster, any of those young ones, you would like to perhaps get the opportunity to show the first class way and
Mm.
take under your wing?
I would like to come from NXT. I've done a lot of work with Zilla Fatu
Mm,
um in Houston at Reality Wrestling. You know, I think that he, because of, who his family is, he's always going to be looked at in a certain light, right?
mm.
And I think if he came into TNA just for a little while and, saw what it was like to be a member of first class, I think he could take that back with him, just like Trick did, and become the next mega superstar that that company is looking for, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of guys that I think could learn a lot from me. Like Grayson Waller could learn a lot from me. That's why
Yeah.
when I did host the Cheese and Citrus Bowl, he had to beg security to let him on the field where I was being paid a lot of money to be there, and I had to give them the okay for him to be down there because I'm a real star.
Mhm.
So these are things that I have happened already, and I think that a lot of people can learn from it.
I think a lot of people can learn indeed. Time almost against us, AJ. There's a couple more things that I would like to ask. Obviously,
Okay.
we know where TNA is heading for the rest of this year, including Tampa for Bound for Glory. Tickets on sale earlier this week for that. It's going to be phenomenal. We know you're heading. We've got Destination X, obviously, in Canada, and a few other events taking place between now and the year end. But if anyone's going to know this, it's going to be you. Any information on where TNA is heading next year, and could we see TNA here in the UK? You're the man with all the money. You're the man that knows these things. Anything to share, my friend?
I would love for TNA to come to the UK because I would have expressions by my side. And he might be the most over person on the show. Unless we're in North London. Even still, he'll be 50-50, right? So I would love for us to go to UK. I want us to go back to Baltimore. When we went to Baltimore, my hometown, it was one of the most, especially for a non pay-per-view show, it was one of
Mm.
the most packed shows we've had. Um, I would love for us to do a show here in Houston where I live now. We do San Antonio a bunch. We've done Austin. We've done El Paso, but I would love for us to do Houston.
Mm.
So there's a bunch of places that I would like to go. Anywhere that I used to play, like Seattle or Miami, those would be good ones. But yeah, there's a lot of places I would love for us to go.
Right, we will keep an eye. TNAWrestling.com. As soon as those dates are announced, they will be on there. Of course, you can get your tickets for all the upcoming TNA events at TNAtickets.com. It is the final thing we would love to do with you, AJ. We get the chance to do this with all the TNA superstars. I have in front of me the names of 5 TNA stars. I would
Hmm.
love for you to tell me the first thing that jumps into your head when you hear these names. Are you up for a quick fire round of the name game?
Sure am.
Name number one, Ricky Sosa.
Phenom.
Number two, Tasha Steeles.
Underrated.
Number three, Jason Hotch.
Pretty boy.
That's not where I thought that one was going. Number four, M by Elegance.
Uh, Talented.
And the final name, Mr. Smooth, the voice of TNA Wrestling, Tom Hannifan.
Loser.
That is the name
Oh,
game.
you gotta do a sixth one. Say my name.
AJ Francis.
Goat.
That is the first time we have ever done a sixth name in the name game, but it is well worth doing because the talking is done. The cage doors are about to close. You can watch TNA Lockdown live this Sunday night on TNA Plus by heading to TNAWrestling.com and signing up. You can also rep the man himself while he goes to work inside the seal. Make sure you grab all your official AJ Francis gear right now at TNAmerch.com. AJ, thank you for taking the time. Good luck Sunday night, and we'll catch up again very soon. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.